We built a military industrial complex. Why can't we build a medical industrial complex? I don't understand this in this country.
Oh, I can tell you why.
No, we have it. Your corporations, big pharma. We have companies that are making billions and billions of dollars off of debt.
Not the government. It's not the government. It's the corporations. You're so close. That's all I keep thinking. I want to bridge the gap here.
Hang on. Wait.
So close.
There's two.
Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, hey, I'm the Serfs. I'm a dumpster fire on the internet. I'm democratic socialist on the streets, posadist and everything else. And yeah, just waiting for our dolphin overlords to come over and create orgies and all that good shit. So excited to do some high-level ideas with a bunch of other individuals right now. It'll be good.
Got it. Wonderful. Happy to hear it. Hail Dolphin.
I mean, this is the big problem I have with the left is when you have, oh, no, there's no fraud. It's like, wait, you understand there is, it's isolated. How big is it? That's why we have a process.
So do you think when Donald Trump is putting out like there's fraud, or when all these Republican leaders are pointing out fraud, what they actually mean is, well, there are probably some isolated incidents.
No, I'm not talking. No, but no, my point is I didn't get to finish. Is that's why you do have people that aren't listening. Because I'm trying to be reasonable. Say, listen, Joe Biden won. Let's let the process play out. I don't see the evidence to massive fraud. I'm saying that. But when you're saying there's no fraud, you're going to have people that aren't like us, that aren't politically
in tune. That's kind of what happened, right? So Donald Trump was allowed to run his lawsuits, and then one after one, they've been thrown out by all the lower level courts.
No, that's negative. Well, negative. That was not Trump lawsuits. We call them Trump lawsuits.
Sure. So,
okay, whatever. They're Giuliani's lawsuits.
Right, sorry. Giuliani's lawsuits, but all but one have been thrown out.
Wait. Okay. There's a lot. Okay, I can only hear one person talk at once. We've already started. We've already started going down the hill. Okay. And now
Lance, you were addressing me. Go ahead, Lance.
Yeah.
Sure. I was going to say the whole system is kind of playing out the way it's supposed to, right? So we've got Giuliani's lawsuits, which are playing out, each one getting thrown out one after the other by the lower level courts, and then
not
the states.
Just his, though.
Right. Sure. And so on top of that, we've also got these states which are allowed to, like in the case of Georgia and the other states, they're going to basically solidify the results. So everything is playing out as it should. Exactly. So step by step, it's coming to fruition that yes, Joe Biden won, and we're getting to it. So I don't see where the complaint comes in. It's pretty much exactly
so the complaint comes in because everybody's bitching about the process. Everybody's bitching about the process.
Well, I think people are bitching about the transition problem. That's more it, right?
When you have the left, and I've heard it, I've even seen people in chat, there's no fraud. That's a lie. There's always fraud every election. The question is how big it is. That's my point about it, is that we need to be intellectually honest and say, yes, there was fraud. How big is it where you have a process? I agree with you. The process is playing out. I agree with you. The process is playing out.
Hang on. I'm not gonna play too fucking centered with this. Look, in 2019, Elizabeth fucking Warren even bitched about this shit. Okay? Give me y'all's fucking bullshit. I just want to know if he won fair and square. Don't you want to fucking know? So that way we all can shut the fuck up and quit bitching, and we won't have civil war.
We do know. We know for a while. This is more just like we're waiting for you to catch up. That's kind of what this is.
So I see two people raising their hands.
Wait, do we all raise our hands?
If you want me to write your name down.
But I have one question. I have a question. Please. Just a quick question. Can I ask one question?
That'd be a great question.
Yeah, is it TOS for us to do copium on stream? Is that a thing? Because I don't want you to get more trouble.
No copium. Cocaine is a little too hard though. So be careful on that.
Okay, you want communism in this country where we have every fucking freedom that communists don't have. Take your bullshit back to communistic China if that's where you want to live, or communistic Venezuela if that's where you want to live. But it's America.
Both communist
and as a redneck,
hardcore communist countries.
I didn't say. I said communistic China or communistic Venezuela. You take your pick. If you would fucking
now
listen
it's not racist. The racism has been eliminated by
you have the wrong ideas.
This is not the racism you're looking for.
What other country do you want me to go? Can I go to Sweden? You think Sweden is socialism too? Can I go there?
Okay.
No, they don't. Communism is different.
Okay, they're both muted.
Even when you think about it within America, right? We're in this biggest time where people think there's all this violence going on. 95% of the 12,607 demonstrations in between May 24th to September 19th, 2020 were peaceful. Of that, 12 people were killed, 9 of which were police. And even according to the data, the deaths outside of the police were caused by cops. So that seems like a pretty...
But Joe, I mean, once you say that it's not, I agree with you. Obviously, majority is peaceful, but that's not what people are worried about. People are worried about that 1 in 20. I mean, that's where the Timothy McVeighs and things could happen.
Yeah,
That's why that
yeah.
my point was at the beginning is that I'm afraid that's where it's heading. Where I agree with you. Most of it's peaceful, but I'm talking to Joe really quick, Red. But I agree with you, but nobody's really worried about the majority of them. People are worried about it continuing unchecked and no one saying, hey, we need to pull back a little bit. We need to come together.
We've already found for a fucking fact, that there is illegalities that have happened in multiple states. Statistically and factually, and there's affidavits signed.
Voting. Hugo Chavez voted as well. I saw that the other day.
That
was wild.
200 affidavits and no one knows what's in them. He's making a valid point.
No, he isn't. You can't vaguely gesture to something you find weird, and that's proof of voter fraud.
No one knows what's in the affidavit.
God, I'm gonna fire my editor for not being here. So I do want to move down this line to the Serfs, who is next in line.
Oh, thank you. All right, so I'm just going to try and rattle off a few things, a little rapid fire here. Number one, Timothy McVeigh was a far-right nationalist who read the Turner Diaries. That's one of the reasons he committed the crimes he did. He should be labeled as a terrorist. There's nothing more to that. Number two, Hugo Chavez has been dead since 2013. He is unable to affect voting or voting systems because he is a ghost, so ghosts can't do that. That's just the way the world works. And then number three, there has been a reported 0.000000006% of voter fraud tabulation that turned out to be fake. So on the whole, this is a nothing burger that we're blowing out of proportion, and I just wanted that to be on the record.
We're throwing it over to the Serfs next.
So I think the question was originally about the protests and the violence that were taking place in DC that just went by. If we all live in the shared reality, I think then we all have to accept the fact that when it comes to right-wing extreme violence in the United States, as well as many parts of the first world, it comes from the right to far-right individuals. And it's usually terrorism at the hands of right and far-right extremists. And I don't think that's entirely because at the end of the day, they have some deep racism, like people like to paint them as, and I don't agree with the characterization that people in rural America are rednecks, are low IQ, or any of that shit. I think that stuff is contributing towards the idea that they feel vilified and ostracized by the mainstream, by the liberal elites, or whatever you want to call it. I think at the end of the day, they are terrified like everyone else because they're experiencing the same kind of alienation as everyone else, and they're being taught by certain people, like again, media personalities, Breitbart, far-right publications, that they have to be scared and fight a certain people, and that's why they become radicalized. That's why they create violence. So when people like me on the left tell you about this, we tell it to you because we are at the same time trying to bridge the gap between that to reach out, and at the same time also tell you that there are individuals within amongst our midst that are experiencing that violence as reality every single day. And especially this week being Trans Awareness Week, there's an untold amount of violence that is wrought about the trans community, especially women of color who happen to be part of the trans community, and that is just like a very grim reality they live with every single day. So it's one of those reasons why we're trying to both bridge the gap, but also say we should be sentient and realize the true numbers and the true casualties that are coming at the ends of this war.
Okay, so we're gonna start transferring to the next topic, which is, will the financial cost of the Democratic Party's platform be too much to bear?
I am so far outside of my depth when I talk about economics and things like that, I'm tempted just to rattle off things that I think off the top of my head, just so they can be hilariously disproven later. Might add for some good conversation. So I think that money is neat. I think that we should probably use taxes for stuff and things.
Spicy takes. Money is neat. We should use taxes for stuff.
That is an interruption that didn't make me laugh.
Sorry. Mute me. I accept.
We built a military industrial complex. Why can't we build a medical industrial complex? I don't understand this in this country.
Oh, I can tell you why.
No, we have it. Your corporations, big pharma. We have companies that are making billions billions of dollars off of debt.
Not the government. It's not the government. It's the corporations. You're so close. That's all I keep thinking. I want to bridge the gap here.
Hang on. Wait.
So close.
There's two.
Okay, cool. So, Redneck, what you were talking about when you were explaining how people were actually trying to make you, qualify for different things, whether or not it had to do with your heart or the different kinds of PTSD you were experiencing, that to me screams the problem with having the profit motive involved in healthcare. And that goes across the board. So, as long as people are going to profit, and I'm not trying to go, full on socialist or communist on you, I'm just saying, as long as we have a profit incentive, you're going to see shady shit like that, where insurance companies will try to one-up each other. That's where you see death panels, where people are basically going to ask for things like pre-existing conditions, where other countries don't say the words pre-existing conditions. They say things like, well, what exactly is your ailment? Because we're going to try and help you, because that's just the way the system works. The second thing is, in far as goes, what are we talking about? Big government. When it comes to big government, the United States has enormous government when it comes to things like the military, all right? When it comes to things like the military, they don't have any problem spending $800 million, $900 million on something like that. And then when it comes to keeping people alive, that suddenly is a how are we going to pay for it question. Whereas I don't think you need that much money spent on the military. I'm not even going down with the idea of fiat currencies. We're not going to get into that, but just the idea of why do we need this much money spent on something when it's already being spent more than the next 8 or 9 or 10 countries combined. So shave a little money off that and then put a little bit of that money towards keeping human beings alive, and then you can use them for whatever you want. If they want to work in factories, they want to do capitalism, that doesn't matter. It'll be for the benefit of all Americans.
Because if I told you Amazon was going to do something good and it's provable, like we've seen it, we've means tested it, you would totally be fine with them getting a tax break. I mean, why wouldn't you be if they're going to do something good?
Oh, well, okay, so Amazon already makes hand over fist. They're making, you're talking about an individual who makes more money than any other human being on the planet.
I know,
he's doing completely fine. Even if you want to tell me that Amazon is doing something that's great for society, that's cool. That means they're making more money than anyone else, so they don't need tax breaks. They don't need exemptions. They're winning. They won capitalism. They're the final boss. They're Shang Tsung. It's fine. They're going to be totally okay.
Lance, what if they say they won't build there, then that community loses out? That's my point. Is that
then they're holding that community hostage. That's them saying we're not going to give you jobs unless you allow us. Exactly. I agree with you. That's capitalism, baby. That's how it works.
No, that's not capitalism. That's business.
Fucking public systems like Canada and the UK, they pay 17% for similar care and similar outcomes.
Okay.
So you keep,
you live in Canada?
You keep pushing.
You live in Canada?
No, I don't.
I
keep pushing for efficiency. Why don't we just fund these fucking things?
Who lives in Canada? Serf?
I do, yeah. Point. I think, and I'm hoping we all agree on this, we probably want to look at what is the best way to do blank. And if we found a better way, a more efficient way, especially one that's both cheaper and benefits more people, we should emulate that. So in the case of the United States, if it just comes down to the fact that they are spending more money and getting worse results or less results for the money put in, then why not emulate somewhere that is spending less money and getting more results, aka supporting and keeping alive more human beings? And yes, if he's referring to a different system like Canada, that would be an example.
It's basic health, it's just like Medicare. You don't get a dental plan, you don't get, it's basic, it's the same as Medicare.
If I needed surgery tomorrow,
it
absolutely is. Oh my God, yes, I can tell you across the board. Now, if you want anecdote Andes, here's a handful for you. If I go into tomorrow, I'm like, oh, there's a pain in my testicle, I wonder what's happening. I can walk into a walk-in clinic within a week. I'll get an ultrasound afterwards. I will get surgery booked within 6 months. That's all free. Every single thing I just mentioned free. Every step I've just mentioned is going to be $1,000 to $2,000 to $5,000. If you have like a broken finger and you're worried about that, and you're like, I don't want to get an X-ray. What if I have to spend like $2,000, $3,000? That's all free. It's all free all the time. Every single day. If you have cancer, you get surgery for that. Absolutely, you do. You get chemotherapy. All the same things. You have. Look at the rates of death in Canada compared to other countries, other developed nations. We have comparable rates.
My buddy that lives in Ottawa said that if he didn't have his wife's insurance through her company that she has, he wouldn't have been able to get the services as fast as he did.
It took too long, yeah.
So while I'll contest that one anecdote with just the overarching theory that most Canadians receive.
I'll just give your anecdote back one anecdote as well.
So then let's just talk about the actual statistics. Then across the board, Canada, when you compare it to other countries, especially other developed nations, they overwhelmingly have survival rates comparable to the United States for things like cancer, except it's all paid for through our system. You don't have to pay anything out of pocket. The concept of picking yourself up from your bootstraps helps a little bit when your parents are the ones who have bought you boots, and or you don't happen to be disabled or someone who's unable to be able to pick themselves from their bootstraps. So personal responsibility, all that kind of stuff, it doesn't apply to the whole world at the same time. So at the same time, I think we should try and take care of each other, especially the bare minimum being healthcare for everybody.
So the question is simple. Should Puerto Rico become a state? This will be the last topic of the night. I'm going to start in the top left-hand corner with Jingles.
I think it sounds neat.
Wonderful. Royal logic. Anybody else? Anybody? Okay. And again, you can jump in if somebody.
I'd like to hear from Jangles Science Lad again.
Okay.
He had some theories about neatness that I'd like to learn more about.
Okay, Jangles will be forced to be put on the list.
Nice, thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
I agree that talking about racism is hard because Americans disagree about the history of race, but this is exactly why we need to be talking about these things within our governments.
You want to make everything about that, and it's not about that, right?
What did I just say? What did I just say?
I wasn't listening.
Do you agree? Hold on.
Oh my
CTV,
god.
I'm going to make this as clear as possible. I'm going to help you here, friend. I'm going to help you here. This is important. I'm going to say a statement. I want you to say if it's true or false. Talking about race is hard because Americans disagree on the history of race.
No, talking about race is hard because everybody on the left wants to be a fucking victim and they use that as that. I grew up in a time when Michael Jackson was singing a goddamn song about it doesn't matter if you're black or white. And that was my experience in life. So fuck you and your experience in life, right? Because I grew up in a time where most of the people had fucking gotten past that whole idea.
Oh, hey, everybody, it's me. So what I really wanted to say, and I never got a chance to say it, which was going to be my closing remark, which I guess I'll have to say to you, because I guess you're the ones listening right now, is this. To every single person who was turning to Joe and saying to Joe, why do you see the world in these paradigms? Why do you always see race? Like, all you ever talk about is race. What is it? I mean, they never said you people, but they were on the verge of saying you people, right? Why do you always see race? Why do you always talk about things in race? And I really wanted to say, hey, to my fellow whites and white passing, those who are white passing, because yes, the one are the same in terms of how you're treated. He doesn't get a choice. He doesn't get to leave the house and all of a sudden turn that off. There's no privilege. There's no all of a sudden it's like, well, why don't you just say, what the fuck, bro? And just shake it off, right? You don't shake it off when someone's like, I'm going to kill you because of who you are. You don't shake it off when someone's like, I'm not going to hire you because of who you are. You don't shake it off when you're like, you can't get a job. You can't get healthcare. You can't buy a house in this community because of the way you look, because they don't get to leave that. That's the reality they have every single day. And it's for something arbitrary like the color of their skin. So when they leave the house, they walk outside, that's all of a sudden the way the world sees them. All of a sudden it's like, oh yes, you're black because I see you as black. So it doesn't get to shut off like that. So that's why, yeah, they want to explain to you why race is an important concept. They want to explain to you why we should think about race, why we should talk about race, because God damn it, people think about me in racist terms every single day. That's my lived experience. Whereas those who are white and white passing, we don't get that. That's it. We don't, like, that's our reality, and that's all there is to it. That's what I wanted to close with. But shit got heated, chat. Shit got mad heated. Hey, we want to mutual aid you to get some eyeballs on your work. So if you have a leftist YouTube channel or Twitch stream or something you want us to advertise, just send us a 20 to 30 second ad using the forums at weareserfs.com. We'll do our best to help you out. And please submit once per channel.
To our gods, unwrapped. Xander Forbes, we shall build temples in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we live to do your bidding. To our lords, Jeffrey Lamb, Trevor R., Stephen, Nine Tails Cosmic Fox, Han Josephine, Poppy Nelson, Ryan Lubin, Jimothy K. Meeble Beeps Jr., we bow meekly for your pleasure. And to our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Veit, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Political Puppy, Ali Menthal, Jimmy Big Nuts, Andreas Chitoro, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon Then, Dr. Zayas, Joppy, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Jack Darko, Thomas Barrington, J. Fraser Cartwright, Goofalankius, Melissa Murphy, Nicholas Marks, Alexander Thaler, Ramon Acosta, and Ali Retta Jaffer. We salute you. Love you all. Peace.